Now, I want to talk about today, and I'm sorry for those of you who are new, you'll kind of be thrown in, but that's okay. You can learn this stuff first. You've already learned the consonants, which is known as the alphabet or the aleph bet, the 22 letters, right? So shorter than an English alphabet. Russian alphabet is 33, English 26, and 22 in Hebrew. And you've already learned the vowel signs, the nikudot, right? The little symbols underneath the letters, and the one that goes up above, and the two that go to the left of the letter. So today I want to talk about schwa. Schwa. Schwa is the absence of vowels. So basically, there's a general rule that whenever I write a letter in Hebrew, whenever we write one of the letters, unless it's the last letter, it needs to have a vowel sign associated with it, okay? Because the letters, first and foremost, are consonants, right? There's only a few of them that are the quote-unquote vowel letters that we talked about last time. So a consonant always has to have some sign, some symbol connected to it, right? And so when you see a square here, when you see a square, this is saying it could be any of the letters from the alphabet, okay? Could be yod, could be aleph, could be chet, whatever. So remember our search pattern. First we look under to see if there's a sign underneath. If there's nothing there, we look next to it. If there's nothing there, we look up top. If there's still nothing, then that means that this is actually a vowel. He's functioning as a vowel, all right? And not as a consonant. There's one little exception to aleph when it kiesses, but I don't want to deal with that now, all right? Let's not complicate things. So, when you don't have a vowel, but you want to have the letter anyway without a vowel, you have to write the schwa, all right? If you search around and you're looking at other grammars, some grammars will call this a sheva. They just spell it with a V here instead. And this is because modern Hebrew has been corrupted and it's pronounced more like European languages, certain things. And so this letter, but we still learn this pronunciation. We learn the modern Hebrew pronunciation for the sake of Kalal Yisrael. I don't want you to study biblical Hebrew and you've got this ancient pronunciation. And then you go to Israel and you miss out on the similarities with modern Hebrew. So we actually are learning pretty close to modern Hebrew pronunciation, but I do want you to be aware that sometimes grammatical terms, we use the scholarly or the rabbinical way of calling these things in dikduk, in grammar. So I will call it schwa. Some grammars will call it sheva, especially if you learn modern Hebrew, all right? So that's why if you encounter that, that's what's happening. So if I don't have an actual vowel under or next to or on top of the letter, and the letter is still a consonant, I have to put this sign underneath it, this little colon. It looks like a colon there, right? Okay? So this is the schwa, okay? And if you ever look at an English dictionary, we also have schwa in English, we just don't have a sign for it. But when you look in a pronunciation guide, it's represented like this. It's an upside down lowercase e. So you might have seen that in dictionaries before. Or if you learn the universal phonetic alphabet, you'll see this. That's an E that's turned on its head, okay? That's the sign for schwa. And in Hebrew, schwa can be pronounced one of two ways. It can either be absolutely silent, right? It makes no sound at all, or it makes a little it's like kind of like a very, 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 picture a Canadian, a little tiny Canadian. Say he's a small guy, like really small, like 2 feet tall, and he couldn't hear you, and he's saying they always say okay, say okay. So, by the way, no offense if you're Canadian, love you guys. This is just just what came to mind as a way to remember a mnemonic. So it's either silent or it's all right. The Yemenites, they say instead, but the Yemenite Jews, and they probably have the closest to the true ancient pronunciation, but that's just FYI. All right, so this is, when you see a schwa like this, it's either going to be totally silent, it's just telling you, hey, the letter in the box is indeed a consonant, right? So if I have a yod written here, a yod, okay, this sign is telling me that the yod is y. It's making the hard Y sign, y. It's not being part of the vowel, all right? We have another kind of schwa, which is called a composite schwa, all right? It's called composite because the symbol is composed of two symbols. One of them is the sound that it makes. So if you learned your vowel signs, you would know this already. Sorry for the new folks. And the other is the schwa. So look, on the right side, we have the schwa. See, there's the schwa. Maybe I'll highlight that. Let's make it yellow. Red is too deep. Oh, orange would be good. Okay. So here we have schwa, schwa, and schwa. Okay. And in the composite schwa, the sign on the left side, that is the sound that that schwa will make. So a composite schwa is never silent. A composite schwa will always make a sound. So in this case, now don't worry, you did not have to learn the names of the vowels. As I told you, you'll eventually become familiar with them, as I will make sure to always say them. You have a patach, which is the ah sound there. You have a segol, which is the eh sound there. And we have a kametz. But because it's a schwa, this is the short kametz. So this is the o. All right? So this one, the name is chataf pataf, and it goes ah. This is chataf segol, and it goes eh. And we have chataf kametz, and it goes o. All right? So let me write the sounds here, because even though we have it classified as an approximation on the class, instead of I class, you could think of this actually as E class, because I further differentiate them that way. I think it's easier for people. So we'll think of them as an E class. Okay, the computer did not want to follow the way I traced it. E class. It gets confused sometimes. And this one as O class, we'll say instead, okay? I think it's easier to think of them that way. All right.